I'm going to go over 5 wide receivers who saw 80 or more air yards and also had 50 or less receiving yards in week 14. We're trying to see if we can find an albatross from this sample. So let's get this started with the first wide receiver. The first wide receiver we're going to be talking about here is Mike Evans from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Against the 49ers, he scored 8.4 PPR fantasy points, but he was targeted 9 times, saw a 17.6% target share, and had 85 air yards, which equated to a 9.4 average depth of target. Caught 4 balls for 44 yards. This is kind of what Mike Evans does, especially in these tough matchups. Deep ball guy, gets downfield, makes plays, happens, gets those air yards. You're going to get a lot of boom weeks. You're going to get a lot of bust weeks. This was a bust week. This was a tough matchup. The game script was there for the volume. Just things didn't convert, and this is just what happens. You got him on your fantasy team. You got good matchups going forward, bad matchups going forward. You're probably going to be starting him either way. His teammate made the list. Julio Jones, also from Tampa Bay, 8.8 PPR fantasy points against the 49ers. Targeted 8 times. 15.7% target share. Again, product of the game script. Saw 80 air yards. And we've been talking about him on some of these videos, some of the sneaky start videos, and in other lineup setting videos as a play because of the volume he's been getting. He's been getting 5 or more targets in a lot of contests here recently. And the volume really speaks when you hit on that. So I look for him as a trendy DFS play, as a cheap guy to put in your lineup if you're max building on the other spots, or if Tampa Bay's in a good matchup and you just want to onslaught it. Since he's getting this workload, there might be a game where he hits. When it comes to your basic redraft league, odds are you're not starting him at this point, but if you're really hurting at flex, you might be thinking about it. Chase players who are getting air yards and targets. The next player here also saw a lot of volume, and it's Isaiah Hodgins from the New York Giants. Game script also dictated the volume here. He was targeted 6 times on an 89.1% snap share. He had an 18.8% target share, which equated to 8.8 PPR fantasy points. Overall, had 83 air yards, so targeted deep downfield, and had volume. Had 4 catches for 38 yards, and that touchdown really helped his fantasy production for the week. I look at him as a contrarian DFS play in max entry tournaments with high over-unders, 45 or higher. That is when I really want to put him in my DFS lineups. For fantasy, he's probably going to be a flex option for some people or a waiver wire pickup this week, really depending on where you're at, where you're hurting at. But for contending teams that are stacked, you're not looking his way. Looking at our next player, and game script really helped his volume out as well. It's Nick Westbrook from the Tennessee Titans. Saw 8 targets, had a 20.5 target share, 90 air yards, 11.3 PPR fantasy points, equated to 3 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown. Again, the touchdown saved the day here. Treylon Burks is going to be eventually back. It's really going to impact the volume for the rest of the receivers. He's also a contrarian DFS tournament play. So a player that you're just going to throw in random lineups. If you're max entering it, they putting out 100 lineups, 200, 300, 400, and you're just throwing them in there just to be contrarian in a few of them. That's what you're going to look at him as. Some players might look at him as a flex, but he's a big gamble and you're only using him if you're really hurting. So I don't really look at him as a true option, only if you need a patch-up job. And then with Tennessee, they also had Racey McMath get some work. 4 targets, 107 air yards, 0 catches, 0 fantasy points, but had 107 air yards. Guy has 91 percentile size adjusted speed score. They're going to use him for deep balls here and there. Could create volatile production. I could see that this year, next year. Again, Treylon Burks is going to be back. You're not going to be leaning on McMath, but you may want to think about him in some instances if you're in deep tournaments in DFS. But this is a sample of 1 coming back from IR. Truly, I would not be looking at him. I wouldn't be thinking of him as an option at this point. Late round pick could easily be switched out. So I would not be looking at him as a viable fantasy option unless I want to get cute in DFS, which you should be if you're doing a shit ton of lineups. But those are 5 wide receivers that are trending with workload from week 14 who just did not go bonkers with it. Some of these guys you want in fantasy, some of these guys you don't. But the numbers are the numbers, and we gotta cover them either way, just in case somebody's interested. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who you grabbing this week off waivers? Who you interested in? Who do you want some videos on? Let me know in the comments. Well, I want to thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you going forward. waiver wire ads, stash plays, dynasty, sneaky starts, must starts, and everything else. Again, I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.